Coach, so happy you found us on YouTube. Make sure you go over and subscribe. That's really important. That way you'll get notifications. We put one of these up every day. Also, go over and check out teachhoops.com for coaches who want to get better. You want to win more games in less time from someone that's done it. Let me help you. I was where you were at one point, took over losing season, won multiple state titles. Let me help you become a better basketball coach at teachhoops.com. Let's head off to the YouTube channel. Bye.
We did that. We redid ours, but we went metal and made them a little bit bigger, similar to that. But yeah. So
yeah,
we thought about wood, but it's like, do we go wood or we go metal? And then it worked out. Metal worked out okay. We had a big enough space, I think, too.
well, our roof started leaking in the team room here a few days ago, and I walked in here last night, and there was a huge puddle on the floor, which is all wood. I've been trying to clean that up and get the school to fix that before the floor starts warping with all the wood.
I know. That's crazy.
Yeah.
All right, go ahead. Shoot away. What do you got?
Well, I'm in my second. I just finished my second season here at the school.
Okay.
As the high school girls basketball coach.
Okay.
It's a school that has had winning seasons for 18 years. The coach that was here for 16 of those 18 seasons in a row, he retired, became the athletic director here.
Okay.
They knew what was coming. It was about to be a period of time that we're going through right now that's rough.
There's a reason you retire. I always
There's a reason.
People always ask, when are you going to retire? I said, when I retire, they're not going to be that's the year. Like,
right.
What do you mean? I go, well, you'll know that it's going to be dry for a while when I get out. Yeah.
Right. And, funny. And I had been out, I was a head high school boys basketball coach about 7 or 8 years ago. And I took some time off with little kids and everything. Right. And I started calling games on the radio, things like that, and I lived next door to the school, was taking over the youth league because my kids were coming in and trying to reestablish a youth league. And they said, why don't you just take over the girls program? So here I am.
I know. That's how I ended up being the boys volleyball coach for 7 years. It's like they just corner you and it's like, oh, like, okay.
Right.
Like 7 years later, I'm looking, what the hell am I doing? Like,
yeah, that's what I kind of thought. Well, I'll take it over and get it reestablished, and see what happens. But now, I'm 2 years in. I'm completely 100% in this and back into coaching now, and knock the rust off. But trying to, I'm first of all, I'm coaching girls basketball now, which is completely different for me than coaching boys. And I'm trying to adjust to that. That's one of the things that, I'm trying to adjust to, but also I'm taking over a program where there's a real lack of skill for 3 or 4 classes in a row here. They're in the high school right now. Lack of skill, lack of athleticism.
And so give me your rules. Like when can you do stuff? Like every state's different. I was just talking to a coach in Canada and they can't do anything in the summer. I go, what do you mean? They can't even get in their building. So what can you do and when can you do it?
So 28 days after my season ends, I can start having contact again with 3 players at a time in the gym.
Okay.
I can do that all spring. And then mid-May until August 1st, I have, I think it went up to 15 or 20 contact days or something like that.
Okay. Yep.
And you can have open gyms and those things that don't count towards that.
Toward the 15. Okay.
Yeah. And then fall time, again, starting in September, I can have contact with 3 players at a time starting in September.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then do you lose them to softball, to volleyball, to track, so how is that in this school? Is it a small school? You lose a lot?
In this school, it's a fairly small school. I tried to promote the other sports, going to be multi-sport athletes. Basketball has always been the main girls sport here at the school. And it's still kind of that way, even though we're down right now. So like this spring, I have like 7 to 10 girls almost every day that's going into the gym or the weight room now. Like I'm trying to get them in there. So even in fall time, I usually keep 7 to 10 girls. So for us, being a smaller school, it's pretty solid numbers during that time.
It's really good. Okay.
Yeah. We can run 2 to 3 teams during the summertime at shootouts and camps and things like that too. So
okay. And do you do so I do 2 different things with my skill when I can't do anything until school's out, but so what does your skill work look like? What do you do in the off season?
So like right now when they come in, we come through and do a lot of, I call them group 1, 2, and 3 moves. We'll do a lot of things where they just without dribbles, some jab steps and then rip throughs and attacking the rim off of 2 feet. Then adding a move, double moves. We get some ball handling things in, trying to rework all the shots.
Yeah.
Because we did a lot of shots.
So if you're working 3 girls out on one side, can any other girls be in the gym?
Yeah, they can be on the other side without me directing them. So they'll come in and I'll let them go down and get on the gun or something while I'm working with 3.
Okay. Awesome. So what I'm gonna do, I just worked on I'll send you after we're done here. I'll send you what I give because my guys kind of disperse a little bit. I'll send you our workout.
Okay.
And it's like it's grouped and it's like they pick and it's all I'll send that to you. So I'm gonna see if I can find that, but I'll send that to you just to kind of see. Because my guess is how's the feeder program?
So I had to reestablish that.
That's probably what's killing you right now.
Yeah, and that's what the girls that are in the high school right now did not have a youth league program when they came through. And then when they got to the 7th, 8th grade, the middle school levels, they barely practiced. They got into high school, they were kind of the B team, so they didn't even really have they had optional practices. Some of the girls I have right now while they were in high school, so it's a real lack of skill. But our feeder program now, I established a youth board. We have first and second graders in the league together, 3rd and 4th in the league, 5th and 6th in the league. They're playing a lot of basketball.
Okay. So this is just a bump, probably.
Probably, yes. Yeah. Actually, I know, yes, it is. I know our 8th grade, next year's freshman class coming in is pretty solid. But I'm trying to figure out the direction to take the program. Offensive schemes, defensive schemes, things like that. When your talent levels are down, but you see the talent coming from the younger programs. I'm trying to figure out what to do right now.
You want to win. First of all, winning's always good.
In the last 2 years, we have not won much.
Right. So you want to win. You want to put them in a situation. So I wouldn't worry about what you're doing right now, offensively and defensively. I would just do what's going to work for those set of girls for your, to be honest with you, because you can once that tsunami comes through, trust me, from someone that was in the 40s and then had NBA guys, we went to the 90s real fast. That's easy.
Okay.
When they can hoop, it's easy. It's harder when they can't hoop, and then you got to figure out how to score and how to stop.
Right.
My guess. So that's where I think in the off season, you got to think, okay, this is probably 3 or 4 years away before we kind of get the freshmen got to become probably maybe sophomores, but probably juniors before they're going to probably impact. So you're still a couple years away.
Right.
So how can you develop those girls that are sophomores and seniors now? And this is, again, I'm not a girls coach, but you better be able to shoot the ball, which is something they can all become better at. So that's a skill that easy. They can become better shooters. They can't maybe become better scorers. They can all become better shooters. So I would drill the crud out of that. Just because I think it's easier ways to score. So that, and then how is the ball handling? It's probably not very good.
Ball handling is not very good. It's another thing.
I'm gonna press. I don't even see your team. I'm gonna press the crap out of you. Probably. If I'm better than you, I'm coming at you. I'm gonna press you. I'm gonna turn you over. So how do you counter that? Well, then you got to become better ball handlers. You got to be stronger. Weight room is perfect. You got to be able to because that's what happens. It's AAU basketball basically at that point. When I'm substantially better than you, I'm just coming at you.
Right.
So that's where, now I'm guessing you have some girls that can score. Yes, no, maybe.
No. Our leading scorer put up a little over 5 points a game this past season.
Okay. So then you got to figure out, this is your off season. You have to figure out how you can score.
Yeah.
So is it out of bounds plays? Is it ball screens? Is it getting to the free throw line? Because at least maybe you'll make half of those and get some points there. So that's the first part, is how can you score? What's the scheme? Because the problem is they probably have problems reversing the ball.
Yeah. We don't get many ball reversals. And usually, like you said, most teams press us until you're down by 20, 30 points or more, So getting them into an offense and getting the ball down the court is number one, trying to figure that out.
Yep. And then offensive glass. Like so you got to figure, like, I remember some of my early teams, it's like we had to figure out ways to get points. We knew we could get points on quick hitters. We knew we could get, I mean, we'd clear out a side. We would do things just to be able to get a chance to score. Out of bounds plays, you know, and then defensively. So then, so you got to figure out every little nuance that you can. Quick hitters and out of bounds plays, you got to figure, I got to get 4 points on out of bounds plays, or I got to get 6 points. I got to score out of bounds plays. And maybe, you know, so we're going to drill because you get really good at them if you're going to spend practice on them.
Right.
You know, how much time can they spend preparing for your out of bounds plays? So that, and then defensively, my guess is you're probably, I mean, I don't know what you play defensively. What do you normally play?
I try to play man to man as much as possible, but we can't. I mean, to be honest, so I put them in. We tried a 2-3 matchup zone. Tried to trap out of that a little bit. We've tried some 1-3-1 trapping out of that.
So I think what you have to do is you have to come up with, this is what I would do. I would have a handful of zones. I'd play some 1-3-1. I'd play some 2-3. I'd play some 1-2-2. I'd be a master of many, not the skill of one. I couldn't, trust me. We didn't have a season 2 years ago. So I am just getting my program to the point where they can play average defense, not even great man-to-man defense. So we've had to play a lot more zone because we can't defend. Like I'm having to build that skill in 4 months that I get them. So that's where I think you got to become, like, I'm going to run, and maybe the girls become really good at changing defenses. And then they go from, pushing baseline to a trapping, to a zone, so you keep the other team off balance. Cause if you can't keep them in front, you can't defend. It's going to be hard to be competitive. And your goal is probably to be competitive the next couple of years.
Yes, that's kind of the goal. We want to continue to increase our wins, be competitive, get to the point where we can come out and at least compete for like a half or something with some of those better teams.
And I would go try to find my non-conferences. I'd get the worst teams on the schedule I can find.
So the last 2 years here, they lock you into 2-year contracts with non-league, and they gave us a non-conference schedule that was just unbelievable.
Right.
And
brutal.
It was brutal. And we already have 5 state ranked opponents in our conference that we play twice each. So it was one of those things where, I'm playing against teams that are playing in the Final Four in my conference, and then playing non-league against teams that are going to the state tournament.
So what you got to do is try to go find teams that, I don't know how your divisions work, but go down a couple, because the girls are going to need boosts.
Right.
Otherwise the morale goes, like, you can only do so much team dinner.
Right. And that's one of the things, trying to keep the girls' morale up is something I'm trying to figure out, how to keep the morale up when we at one point, I think we played 7 teams that were in the top 10 in the state in a row.
So you keep telling, so I do a couple things. You have to be honest with them on that. And then you got to play games within games. Like, we're going to try to score 30 points this game, or we're going to try to hold them to, you got to play. And then within the game, like, I think it was Hurley the other day was talking about, we do that all the time. They do it between TV timeouts, but we break it into chunks too. Like, we have 3-minute games all the time, and we got to win this 3 minutes. We got to win this 3 minutes. It's like, just, you got to make it small pieces or they can't handle it. You're right. So morale is like, so the next 2 years I would have great parent reps or whatever. And I would try to do as much team bonding stuff as you can. Yeah. It's going to be brutal when it's month 2 and they've just lost both games by 30. That's hard.
Right.
If they like each other, it's easier. It's easy.
I will say this year, first year, they didn't like each other. Second year, this past season, we just finished up a few months ago. They got along great. And so that made it easier.
There's been times early in my career when we weren't very good. It's like, I would just stop practice. I'd go for 45 minutes and I'd take them out for pizza. It's like, because to be honest with you, what am I going to get out of the next 45 minutes?
Right.
It's not going to really matter, because we're going to get, so let's go have some fun, and they'll remember that, or they'll go play, they have an old in Madison now, they have this old time arcade with like all the games I played. You pay one price and you go play them for the whole night. They love that kind of crap. So that kind of stuff, anything you can do like that, I agree. It's like, holy crud. I would try to you got to keep your offense as simple as possible.
Yeah, that's kind of been the thing. It's I feel like I'm throwing, mud at the wall to see what's going to stick on the wall. We've tried some different things. We've tried some sets. They've struggled with their basketball IQ isn't great. And understanding timing and having the ability to even execute the sets has been a struggle.
Simple, like couple
Yeah.
rules and that's it. Spacing and rules. It's all, I mean, this is going to sound bad, but you have to coach them like they're a 7th grade girls team.
Okay.
Like, I mean, mentally, that's what you got to, like,
That's
when
where they
my
are, yeah.
early teams, I had to coach them like they were middle school boys because they weren't very, but that's what I had got to keep this so simple that because they're going to have enough stress on them because you're going to get pressured and you're going to, like, you pass and you cut, you pass and you screen. These are the only things you can do. That's it.
Yeah.
And then these are the spots I want you to go to, and then just drill the crud out of that, and it will be. I mean, because no one's going to zone you.
Right. Oh no, no, they're not. They're running and jumping in full court, man.
Right. So
Trap.
that's easier in some respects. Okay, I don't have to worry about my zone offense because no one's zoning us.
Right. Right.
So
Yeah.
they're gonna press. I mean, you have a shot clock?
No.
No. Okay. So no one's gonna zone you. So yeah, here's what we're gonna do. Basic. I mean, I would do a 5 out. I would do a really basic. Yeah. I'll see if I can find my 3x5. When I send you, I just found my workout too. And I send you this workout, I'll try to find the one I ran with my son. I got it to a 3x5. And it's really basic. It's like, this is it. It sits on a 3x5. That's all you got to know. It's on this 3x5, and that's it. You do this, it's fine. And to be honest with you, that will be enough. Because now, how the good teams, how much will they score against you? 40, 50?
Let's see. I think we gave up at 60s.
60s.
We gave up 60s a few times. Most of the time it was like in the 50s.
50s.
But our defense at times, I mean, the second half of the season, I think we played 2 teams that had beat us by 40 some points, wherever first time around.
Okay.
And halftime we were within like 14, 15 points of those teams. So we made progress defensively when we went more zone.
Right.
But
because you know why? It's shortening the game. That's why you got to go zone probably the next couple of years, because it just takes teams longer to find openings. They're going to eventually find their openings, but it's going to shorten the game for you.
Right.
And then the problem is, it's like you gotta, like, anyway, if you're going to be good or great, I tell coaches, if you're gonna be good or great, you got to man up. You got to be able to man.
Right.
But you're a year or 2 away from that probably. So you got to try to, put a, finger in the dike at this point and just try to, so what's your thoughts on offense and defense?
That's where I'm kind of offensively, I'm struggling, because I like a dribble drive motion offense, but our girls aren't ready for that. I'm more of a motion type of offensive coach. We've done some read and react things in the past. I really like the read and react. But again, those are things that my girls just aren't to that point to be able to do much of that. I try to break it down into, small
I'll
games.
give you, I've run that. Was it 2 years ago? I think I ran it 2-3 years ago. So I got, there's basically 3 things that happen. So Rick Torbert's a genius, but my guys aren't smart enough to run layer 72. They just like whatever. They can run layer 2 maybe. So there's basically, you're either a passer, you're a cutter, or you're on the weak side is basically the way we describe it. And you got 3. So I'll send you, I got it on on one sheet of paper, and it's 4 little 3x5s. It's 4 little 3x5s. So I'll send you that. And it's really basic. There's only a couple things you should do every time. Again, dribble drive is not going to work if they can't.
No, absolutely not.
So
no.
You're going to have to, the issue is when you are cutting and doing that stuff, you're going to have to practice passing and cutting and passing and catching.
Right.
To be honest with you, because the catching is going to be as big as the passing part of it, because they're moving. So as soon as you add another element to somebody that's not as good, that's where you're going to get the travels. You're going to get bounce off their hands. You're going to get, so that's the stuff you're going to have to drill down to small sided stuff. Or they're going to have problems.
Right.
It won't be pretty at all. I'll see if I can. Yeah, I got it on a sheet. And then what 1-3-1 probably I would probably stay away from 1-3-1 unless you're long.
Yeah.
Unless you pack it. You can the 1-3-1 pack would work, I think.
We've just trying to find different options really. We that between that 2-3 matchup, and we kind of packed the 1-3-1 in at times, try to jump and trap out of it a little bit, but the length is coming, but it's not there yet. So that's one of those things that
Yeah, it works well. If you've got length, it works well. Like
right.
I might be able to do it with my team next year. But yeah, I think that's the if you run a 1-3-1 with just you describing your team, I wouldn't let anyone outside the 3-point line.
Right. No, right.
Do not step outside the 3-point line ever. Like you should never have a foot outside the 3-point line.
I think we as coaching staff, we tried to figure out, well, we can't score when we have the ball. So how can we maybe try to score off the defense? Well, we couldn't score off our defense either. You know, that was
well, here's the issue. And this is again, having not seen your team. You trap them, you turn them over, but then you've got to be able to pass, dribble, and attack the other way.
Right. You know, we had one game that we were super competitive in. We got 3 straight steals in the fourth quarter. We missed 3 straight breakaway layups.
Right.
You know, one of them we dribbled the ball.
Can you get to the rim?
Yeah. You know, we have 1 or 2 players. Yeah.
So do you have 1 or 2 players that you could isolate?
Yes, I do. There's 1 or 2 that I could do some ISO things.
That's what I think your off season has to be, quick hitters for them. Like how do I get them moving to the basket? How do I get them going to the rim? How do I get them? Because to be honest with you, Caitlin Clark is probably one of the best college basketball players I've seen in a long time. Everything runs through her, like everything. Right. So, I mean, but she's an exception to the rule. I get it. But if you can't score and you got 1 or 2 players that can kind of score, then everything should be running for them because they're going to be your best free throw shooters too, is my guess.
And that was the thing. We had our best, or the girl that had the most potential to score had to be our point guard this year because we had literally no one else that could handle the ball to get up the court.
Right.
And so by the time she's getting pressed the entire game, so by the time she gets into half court, she was done. You know?
Right.
So it was like, all right, how can we now run her off some screens? By halftime, she's done. Like she's spent.
Right.
But yeah.
And you got to get them in shape too. If you only got 5 receivers.
Right.
All right. So I just sent you the workout, which is probably a little higher level but you just pick and choose. Okay. I like the way it's set up. Like there's a shooting thing, and then it's like there's a bunch. I think variety is the spice of life. So I'm looking at like my shooting part. There's like 5 or 6 different things they got to pick 2 each day. And then just go do 2, whatever you want. And it describes them and the things in there. And then I sent you the rule of 3 thing too, which I think is simple, basic, would work. But shooting and ball handling, I think, is the key. Yeah. And are the girls excited? I mean, obviously, if you got 7 to 10 coming in the spring, they want to get better.
Yeah, we've done a lot to try and get them excited. I put together we're the Panthers, but I call it a Big Cat Gym Rat Club. And so for a certain amount of shots and ball handling, they win prizes and things like that. Okay. So seems like it's starting to work to get some of them in.
Are they athletic or not athletic?
The younger girls coming, they are. I've got a next year's freshman class that goes 6'3", 6 foot, 5'10".
Then you and I will need to talk because when you get long like that, 1-3-1 causes problems.
Yeah,
and I love the 1-3-1. I've run it for like 20 years. It's great.
And that's what we have. Incoming freshman that probably going to be my best ball handler in the high school next year, and she'll be a freshman.
So will your freshman play for you next year?
That's the thing. Like they're going to be there's probably 4 of them more talented than what I'm going to have between seniors, juniors, and sophomores. And that's where I got to figure out what I'm going to do with that, because already watching them right now as 8th graders come into the gym and work out with our high school kids currently, they're already more skilled. Yeah. And that's,
how will the school and the athletic director and the administration take it if you move them up and play them?
You know, that's the thing. I've been talking to the athletic director. He was a longtime coach here.
Yeah.
He always played 6 to 7 girls maximum. And if they were freshmen that were better, he moved the freshmen up. So I know that's his philosophy. The school itself has a lot of new administration, and their philosophy is they want all the girls out as they possibly can and all the kids playing. So I mean, if this runs kids off, they're probably not going to like it.
They're not
You
gonna
know?
like it.
So
Will you have enough for a freshman team or a JV team if you move the 4 of them up?
yeah, actually, I still would. I would have enough for a JV team.
And would that be okay? How many teams did you just have a varsity and JV team this year?
Yeah, we always they don't like us having a freshman team. They
Okay.
like having 2 teams.
Then they gotta, here's my theory. They're with you. They don't start and they don't like, but they gotta play.
Yeah.
Because that, I mean, you're not gonna tell a kid not to take algebra 2 if they're good enough. Like, it's a talented
Right.
and gifted program. They're talented enough. They should be. Now, that's where you have the discussions with them and the parent, and they'll feel for the most part probably better if they're not taking a senior spot,
Right.
but they're going to still play 15 minutes a game, and that will pay dividends. Last
Yeah.
time I didn't move a freshman up to the varsity that should have been at the beginning of the year, then he's on his 13th year in the NBA. So I learned my lesson on that one. I was being stubborn, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like, crap, I should have done it. Even though I have video of him actually saying that was a good decision not to do it because they were undefeated and they won and they were friends. I still should have done it. I did.
Yeah.
But anyway,
But you know, we get 6 quarters a night, and the state is talking about giving them 8 quarters a night.
right.
Even.
So then you could like, shit,
Yeah.
I would have them with you for practice too. 'Cause
Right.
The skill development is just going to be so much better. It's
Yeah.
just, they're just going to like, and to be honest with you, the other girls, they'll know. They know. They really all know. Like,
Oh,
even
they
my
do.
arrogant boys know when they look in the mirror and they go, "Why is that one play?" They really do know. When they
Yeah.
deep down, they know. They'll never admit it. The girls know. So
Yeah.
it's like, but that doesn't mean they can't, like, their goal is to bring them along and be a big sister. And how do we do this? And blah, blah, blah.
Right.
And then what happens is you might have to do more stuff. Like, maybe now you do full court pressure because the youngsters come in and they're more athletic. Now we come at them.
Mhm.
Maybe it's like, maybe it's, I've done this in the past. Maybe it's like, it's almost like a special teams.
Right.
Here's your special team.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I'd move them up.
Yeah. That's where that was one of the questions I was going to have for you. You know, what do you do when you have these girls coming in? The following year after that, 2 years from now, there's this current 7th grader, will be 8th grader, that averaged 32 points a game for our 7th grade team.
Right.
And I mean, when she hits freshman year,
She's
everybody
going to play and start.
she would start right now.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. So you're not going to keep, again, it's a talented and gifted program for basketball players. Now, you have a unique dynamic here. You got to balance the upperclassmen with them.
Right.
But if you get them close enough, it will work. It will work.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
I would definitely.
Yeah.
That's a no-brainer for me at this point.
That's kind of where,
and that's the thing. You're talking to your AD, you're talking to, like, here's what I'm going to do, and I'm going to try to build them along, and we're not losing numbers, and we'll have enough for JV and blah blah blah.
Yeah.
So it's like, as long as they're I have found the administrators only don't like when they get blindsided.
Mhm.
Like, if they know, like, that's one of the kickers. They just don't want to be blindsided.
Yeah. So I'll make sure I'm communicating with them.
With them.
Yeah.
But that changes what I was telling you before. If you think that they can play, and then are they as good as some of these other girls that like some of the other teams could? Let's say you started all 4 freshmen and then one of your other players all year. Let's say, imagine, could they compete with some of those teams?
They would compete better than what we have been. Yes. Yeah. And so I think, you know, it's one of those things where I think this summer, when we get them all together and we're playing in the shootouts and the camps and things, I think I think it'll sort itself out. I'm hoping it really does.
Well, and it will sort itself out. Some of the girls some might decide, well, maybe this isn't for me too. Because that's just the way it works. But, you know, I had an 8th grader last year, and shoot, he was playing with my varsity guys last summer as an 8th grader, going to be a 9th grader, and 3 minutes in, it's like, this kid gonna play.
Yeah.
Like, and he played a lot because he can hoop. And
Right.
boys is a little different because there's like street cred with boys, and if you can hoop, they know you can hoop.
Right.
Like, The ones at the bottom, the 13, 14 are going, oh crap, I might be losing my spot on the team. But the rest of them are going, this guy can hoop. They'll just,
Yeah.
Girls are a little
Sure.
different. It's like, it's more a community thing. Like,
Yeah.
so I think the
And-
summer will be big for you. Yeah.
And so I'm picking up on some of these things as going from the boys side to the girl side, and it's an adjustment for me, but
Oh, it's totally different. Boys will just go at it, and then it's like whatever. Yeah.
right. Right. So
All right. Anything else? I just sent you both of those, so they should be in your inbox.
I think that's, those are the things that I was really
So
wanting to-
so if you want to get back together, play with offense and defense, and then what we could do is come back and like, hey, here's what I'm thinking. What do you think about this? When I do that with coaches, it's just I just got to kind of know your team. Like, I got 2 bigs, I got 3 kids that can do that. Have that kind of as a summary so I can just know it, and then we can
Okay.
sit and talk back and forth. That's always helpful for people.
Yeah, that sounds good to me. Yeah. I'll play with a little bit maybe this summer, see what happens, and then
Okay.
touch base with you after, because we'll have everything done, wrapped up in June, by the end of June. So maybe I can get with you
Yeah.
after that.
Perfect. Awesome.
Okay.
Awesome. Thanks, coach.
Yep. Thanks, Coach. Appreciate it.
See ya. Bye.
Hey, Coach, so happy you enjoyed the video. Make sure you subscribe and like. Go over and check out teachhoops.com for coaches who want to get better.